So here is our focus for the day. These are the topics, right, that we are looking to explore. Number one, I want to spend some time convincing you that the camera that's actually in your iPhone is a pretty darn good camera, right? And I'm going to give us some inspiration, all right, along those lines and talk about how that camera has been used in a way that I think demonstrates that it's a pretty good camera. The second major topic is I want to spend some time exploring what what I refer to as point and shoot functions. And, and these are the topics where we are going to explore the various ways to launch the camera app. Right? We're going to talk about various ways to release the shutter. And that includes talking about timer release and also burst photos. While we do this, I also want to talk about some accessories, all right? And I do have some resources, but like an accessory like this, which would be an adapter, which would allow you to attach your phone to a tripod, all right? I'll talk about a handful of these. And then I want to end our session today just with a tip on better iPhone photography. And I'm also going to present to you your homework assignment for the coming week. Now, don't get too anxious about this in that I'm going to make the homework optional, right? But I think if you want to continue to explore your iPhone photography over the coming weeks, I'm going to ask you to be taking some pictures and doing some exploration during during these next few weeks. And then finally, we'll talk about future weeks and spend some time just when we talk about our point and shoot topics today. I know that there will be questions. You know, you might see something about flash, or you might see something about HDR or something about zoom. And so for the most part, I'm going to record those questions and look to cover those topics at future sessions, right? So today, we have 1 hour, and we're going to talk about launching the camera app. We're going to talk about the various ways to release the shutter, but that's about all we can cover in an hour's time, all right? And so if you have questions about other things that you happen to see on your screen, just understand that I may end up pushing that back until we, until we have another chance to explore those topics. All right, so our learning tools. First of all, we do have Zoom, and we are doing our screen share. I just want to do a little check, right, to make sure that all of my tools are working, and that'll also give you a little hint as to what you're going to be seeing, right, as we walk through. So sometimes when I talk to you, you're going to see me like this, all right, and this is just me straight up talking. Sometimes you're going to see me with my slide deck, and by the way, this slide deck is downloadable. I'll show you where that is in just a bit. There will be other times where I am going to show you a web page, and that will look like this, all right? And then there will be other times where I am going to show you my slides, and I'm going to show you my phone, right? And so this is my live phone. And so when I do demonstration of these various functions, I will have an opportunity to demonstrate on my live device. And so in talking about our learning tools, we are going to be using Zoom. We're going to be using the slides to pull out, some detail. The slide deck is downloadable from our class page. I will show you our class page in just a second. I'm going to be doing demonstrations, right? So everything we talk about, I am going to demonstrate today. I welcome your questions. You can pose questions by just making sure that you are off mute and just coming on board and saying, "Hey, Don," all right, and we'll pause for your question. You can pose a question through the chat window. Those of you who are running on a computer, there is a chat icon down below, all right, and you can click on chat and you can present a question via chat. I am also welcome to you posing your questions by email, and I may not be able to, in fact, I will not be able to respond to these questions until after our class time, but you can certainly send a question to me, don@seniortechclub.com, using your email client. We have an online class page. We also have the Tuesdays page, right? And I want to just talk to you about what you will find on those two pages before we jump into our discussion of photography. All right, so here's what we have. I'm going to make a little switch here. All right, so this page right here is our class page. Now, let me go back to the slide deck for just a second. And the way that you can get to the online class page is to go to your web browser and you can type links.seniortechclub.com / STT stands for Senior Tech Tuesday. And this is my 10th session that I've done since last fall. All right, and so I know it's not very creative, STT 10, right? But this is the 10th session. And so if you type that into your web browser, that will bring you to this page, all right? And this page is the page where we identify our topics. Here's the slide deck, all right, for download. Here is the slide deck for online viewing. Occasionally, all right, I'll just show you if I click on that, here is my slide deck, right, that you can reference. If you see something later on that you want to get back to, you can click on it. There is also a link with other resources. All right, so as an example, if you are looking for inspiration, I'm going to propose to you that you can go to Instagram, even without an Instagram account, and you can see the 18 million iPhone photographs that are on Instagram. And then finally, down at the bottom, I give you access to the online lessons, right, that are available on my website. So if we get through some discussion today and you didn't quite get what we were talking about, right, that means you can come down here, down to this section of our class page, and you can go into a section like 7 ways to release the camera shutter. And you can actually load that up into your web browser, and you have a lot more detail. I'm not expecting you to read this here, right? I'm just showing you that what's here. Those lessons down at the bottom are a way for you to fill in some additional information, right? And then finally, I also want to go back to our Tuesdays page. And if I go back to my slide deck very briefly, the Tuesdays page can be accessed by going to links.seniortechclub.com / Tuesdays. And if I go to the Tuesdays page, it looks like this. This is the page where you registered for your Zoom link. But more importantly, for our purposes, this is the page where you can see future topics. And for instance, you can see that next Tuesday on January 19th, we are going to explore functions like zoom, flash, focus and exposure, live photos, filter, and HDR. We're going to do a tour of the camera app. So that's next Tuesday. But if you have a particular topic that you want to explore, you can kind of peek ahead and see what we plan to cover on these sessions. Now, let me make a note about this, in that we do, I've tried to set up the topics so that each one is independent, right? So in other words, if you find you can't make it on the 19th, but would be able to make it on subsequent sessions, that's not a problem, because I tried to structure the topics so that one session was not dependent on any previous session. Oh yeah, I mean, they're still learning, but in other words, if you miss one, please come back, all right? Because we'll try and pick you up. Additionally, I am planning on putting, I'm back on the class page here. I am planning on putting the recorded video right onto this class page so that you would be able to see it again. Okay. All right. So now we're back to our slide deck. Please ask your questions, right, as we walk through our topics. And then finally, don't forget to reference the online class page and the Tuesdays page for additional topics. All right, now let me pause for a second. Any questions, by the way? So far, so good? Okay. I'm going to propose to you that the camera that you carry in your pocket or your purse is actually a pretty darn good camera. And I think that demonstration of that is the fact that this camera is frequently used professionally on photos, videos, and broadcasts. All right, here's some examples. There was a cover page for Time magazine a couple of years ago that featured prominent women, right, of the world. And then when you went into the article, there was a pretty complete photo shoot of each of these individuals. Right up on the top center, you see Oprah is sitting there, and you see Janet Yellen. All of these photos were taken by an iPhone. And by the way, this was a couple of years ago, and the iPhone camera has actually improved quite a bit since that time. There are musicians that have produced music videos that have been entirely shot on the iPhone. Now, this image is just a little bit small, but that is Lady Gaga in the middle. And so she shot a music video totally using an iPhone, and she's not the only artist that has done that. Must be an okay camera. Here's another one. Here's Al Roker from the Today Show. So last spring, when all of these broadcasters were at home, broadcasting remotely, at that particular time, Al Roker published or posted a picture of his setup. And if you look down on the lower center of this photograph, he has two iPhones. One that's using the camera. The second one is as his monitor. And then he actually has an iPad down below, and his iPad is being used as a teleprompter. All right, so it is a total Apple setup. Must not be a bad camera if broadcasters were using it. Here's another one. This happens to be the winner of last year's American Idol. And similarly, last spring, when all of the centralized production was shut down and the American Idol show went remote, they provided all of the contestants with iPhones. And this happens to be the winner of American Idol. And I don't know if there's any American Idol fans here in this group, but if you look on the right-hand side of the photo, there is an iPhone in the middle, and that big ring is her lighting. In fact, I have a similar ring that I have in front of me to improve my lighting from my basement home office. Right. The point is that this is a pretty good camera that fits into your pocket. Right. So now, a place that you can go if you are seeking inspiration, on Instagram, there is a tag on Instagram that will give you access to 18 million iPhone photos that have been posted. Right. And so if I'm going to go back to my class page. I'm going to show you how you can get to that. So on the class page, if you go down under links and other resources, and if you click on this Instagram link, it will give you access to all of these photos. All of these photos were shot using the iPhone camera. And it's a place where you can go to get some inspiration. And by the way, the good news is you do not have to sign up for an Instagram account in order to see these hashtags. Just follow the link that I've given you on the class page in order to go back to that location, right? So the point that I'm proposing to you here is that this is a pretty good camera that fits in your pocket. And one of the missions that I have is over the next 8 sessions, I really hope to get everybody well beyond basic point and click or point and shoot strategies. The vast, when I talk to people in our community, almost everybody has taken some photos. That's a very common function, a very common use of the iPhone. But for the most part, what I'm seeing people do is they pull out their cameras, they launch the camera app, they point, and they click the shutter button. And so you can say that my objective, right, over the next number of weeks is to get everybody beyond the point and shoot mode and come to an understanding about more of the power that is available in your iPhones, and exploring things like the zooms and the HDRs, and what in the world is this live photo deal, and what is portrait mode, and how do you get that blurriness right back behind you, and what is panel mode, and what is slow-mo, and what is night mode that might allow you to take night photographs. And so those are all topics that we are going to explore. And then once we get beyond that, I also want to spend some time in the Photos app, showing you how to organize your photos, how to search for photos. If you get thousands of photos, I want to make sure that you can get back to a photo, right, that you have taken. I want to show you how to edit photos, how to crop, how to do markups, how to draw a mustache on somebody's face, right, if you so desire, right? And so these are all topics that take us well beyond point and click. All right, so the point that I was trying to propose to you in that first part of the discussion is that this camera that goes in your pocket or purse is a pretty darn good camera. And it all starts with launching the camera app. All right, now let me pause for a second and see if there are any questions. Anybody have any questions to this point? Okay, all right. the vast majority of people. I am going to switch to my, to show my screen. All right, so this happens to be on my iPhone screen. This is live. And so I happen to have my weather widget right on the top of the screen. But right below it, I have my camera icon. Right here is my camera icon right here. And the vast majority of people, when they're planning on taking a picture, will probably just press the camera icon in order to launch the camera. And by the way, now you're getting a sense. I'm sorry that this is not a beautiful landscape here sitting in my basement office. There's my window over there that I just covered up. All right. Here's another secret. In behind me, I've got a green screen, right? So that I can put myself onto my slide deck. You can see my lighting. Here's my lighting. All right. But anyway, the point that I wanted to make here is that the vast majority of people will simply launch the camera app in order to take a picture. But there's a lot more to it than that. All right. Here's the first example. Right. So number one is you tap on the camera app to launch the camera, right? Sometimes people will miss the fact that you can do a long press on the camera icon in order to get a series of shortcuts. Now, a long press is generally just pressing and holding on the icon. I'm going to do that, and you can watch my screen. All right. And so, oops, sorry, I didn't get it. And so I did a press and hold on my screen, and now I am presented with a series of shortcuts, meaning I can take a selfie or I can record a video. And what this does is, for instance, if you came into this because you just bumped into George Clooney at the grocery store, and you would really like to take a selfie with you and George Clooney, rather than simply launching the camera app and then fussing with your phone to try and find where is that thing to change the camera, rather than doing that, you could do a press and hold and then tap on take selfie, and it will go directly to the selfie mode. Try that on your own phone if you have the ability, if your phone is independent of your Zoom meeting. I know a couple of you said that you were going to be watching on your phone, watching the Zoom presentation on your phone. But if you can try it, that would be great. Just to do a press and hold in order to get to those shortcuts. Now, there are a couple of different things going on depending upon the iPhone that you have. Some people actually have to press kind of hard, right? Because they have the 3D touch version, right? And so you have to press a little harder on the camera icon in order to get the shortcuts. Other people might discover they just have to press and hold right on it, right? But that is item number 2 in terms of launching the camera app. Be aware of the fact that you can take advantage of the shortcuts by doing a long press, and that will allow you to move directly to a selfie, to a video, to a portrait, and so forth. And it's a way that you can improve your chances of capturing that Kodak moment. All right, let's go on. There is more. You have the ability to launch the camera from the lock screen. And so on my phone, I am going to press the side button, and that will take me, that'll put my phone into sleep mode. And here is my lock screen, right? The lock screen is that screen where your phone is not in sleep mode, but it is waiting for you to enter a passcode, or it is waiting for you to do Touch ID or Face ID to open it. And on your lock screen, you actually have a camera icon. And so another way to launch the camera app is to do a long press on that camera icon on the lock screen. Now there's another way from the lock screen, and this one is one that's a little more hidden. All right, so here's my lock screen again, and there's the camera icon on the screen. But instead of, and by the way, the reason it's going dark is because of my power settings. All right, I could change that here, but it goes into dark. But here's the second way to launch the camera from the lock screen is you do a swipe left. Try that, right? Try that. So in other words, if you just plant your finger on the right-hand side of the screen and you just do a swipe left, that will launch the camera app too. And we're all about, you know, I'm going to propose to you, you're not going to use all of these items. You're going to develop your own style, particularly when you need to move quickly. And but one of my objectives is to make you aware of some of these other strategies for launching the camera app. Right. So 2 strategies from the lock screen. One is here's the lock screen once again. You can tap on the camera app down at the bottom, or you can do the swipe left in order to launch the camera app. Let's go on. You can also launch the camera from the control center. Right. So the control center will vary depending upon the phone that you have. Right. Later iPhones that do not have a home button. By the way, the home button is the button on the lower part of your screen. Mine does not have a home button. But if you do not have a home button, what you're going to do is you're going to go up to the upper right-hand corner of the screen and you're going to swipe down. This is the control center. If you have a home button on your screen, you're going to put your finger next to the home button and you're going to swipe up to display the control center. Right? But what I wanted to show you was that if I go to the control center, I have a camera icon on the control center. So what this means is if you are deep into reading a book, or if you are deep into reading a web page, you don't have to exit that book or that web page in order to get to the control center. The control center will pop up above everything else that you're doing. And then you can press the camera icon on the control center in order to launch the camera. There, I just did it. Additionally, if I go back to that, and here's the control center once again, if I do a long press on that icon, very similar to your home page, we get a series of shortcuts that are available to us. All right, take a selfie, record video, take portrait selfie. The same shortcut actions that you had before. So once again, if you are coming in here because you need to grab a selfie of you and George Clooney at the local Cub food store, you can then tap on take selfie and it'll switch it around, right? Notice that I did not have to fumble inside of the phone app in order to switch to that selfie cam, right? So put a couple of those into your toolbox, right? Whether it's the long press on the home screen or the long press on the control center icon in order to take advantage of the shortcut, right? I'm looking for some nods of the head. Was everybody able to get to that? All right, I'm seeing a few of you, terrific. All right, and there's more. You can ask Siri to take a photo or take a selfie. Now, there's a couple of different ways to launch Siri. Some people do Hey Siri, and to launch it, just for the purpose of this demonstration, I am going to press and hold my side button, take a selfie, right? And there it is, right? There's another strategy for launching the camera app. Let me do that one more time. So you can summon Siri by pressing and holding the side key, and you'll see a little icon down at the bottom of the screen when Siri is listening, and you can then tell her to take a selfie. If your microphone is on mute, you can try this right as we speak. Take a photo.
Take a photo.
Okay. All right, so that's another strategy for launching the camera app. Finally, you will be surprised to find, or maybe you won't be surprised to find, a camera icon in a number of different apps. For instance, if I go to my Messages app, because I am going to send a text message to somebody, right? I have a camera icon in the Messages app that would allow me to access the camera for the purpose of sending a message to another, another person. Similarly, if you are a Notes user, right, here's my Notes app here, and if I create a new note, I have a camera app down at the bottom. Now, we're not going to cover all of these, but you would be surprised to find that there is a camera icon in a number of these different apps, allowing you really quick access to to camera functions, right? Or to drop a picture into a text message, or to drop a picture into a notes document, all right? If you are creating a shopping list, right, in your notes document, and you are sending somebody else to the grocery store, you could actually drop a picture of the product, of the label, of a product label, just as an example, inside of the notes document to expand the information, right? So it's it's another option that you have. All right. Now, before we go on to this, let me go back to here for a second. Right, so just a recap. Right? The vast majority of people that need to access the camera will simply tap on the camera icon on the home screen. That's great, right? But I wanted you to know that there were a handful of options that you have. Option number one is to actually do a long press on it, where you press and hold in order to get various shortcuts. We could also launch the camera app from the lock screen that we explored. We can launch the camera app from the control center, and we could launch the camera app from various apps where you need to use it. All right, let me pause for a second. Any questions?
Don, I've got a question.
Yes.
Anita Davis. So on the notes, you said you could find a camera icon on your notes. And so when I look on mine note section, I'm not seeing where that would be.
Okay.
So I just went into the notes app, that little app that's on it's just, on my screen.
Yep. Now I wonder, I had it there too. I do see sometimes, when I'm doing this in the notes, right, this is a pure Apple Notes function. And occasionally I will see that if somebody is like a Yahoo email user or a Google Gmail user, some of the email providers also have notes functions, and that if those notes functions are dropping into your iPhone, sometimes those other apps, right, those other Yahoo or Gmail or Outlook, some of those notes functions do not offer all of the capabilities of the Notes app from Apple. And so I suspect that might be it. I can't demonstrate that because I don't have any other notes provided.
Don?
Yes.
This is Suzanne. As you showed us, you have to start a new note for that to pop up.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So
That'll maybe make a difference too. Right. And you do a new note by typing or tapping on the pen to paper icon in the Notes app.
okay.
Okay.
Done there.
Good. Any other questions? Nadine?
Yes, I have an Android and I tried the Siri and she didn't come up. Do I do Hey Google on mine to have them take the photo?
Yeah, that's correct. For the most part, I mean, you will find that Android devices have similar functions, right? But the commands are going to be different. I happen to know that the long press works, right? I happen to know that some of the various shortcuts will work on Android devices, but for sure, Siri is total Apple, right? And so you can try Hey Google. I'm pretty certain it would work for you.
Thank you.
But give it a try, right? Give it a try.
Dawn?
Any other question? Yes.
Yes, Dawn, when I hit this, hold on to the sidebar, what pops up is that signing off here, or then I have a spot in the bottom that says, and it's an X and it says cancel. And of course, that's what I do. I cancel that. That's the only thing, two items that come up on my screen.
Okay. So is it like this? Is this what you're seeing?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the if your iPhone does not have a home button, right? Pressing and holding the side button was the shutdown command. Right.
Right.
Now that's changed with newer phones. I had
Okay.
to press 2 buttons in order to accomplish this. Right. I think if you are, and now I have to. Oh, sorry. Right. So if you are summoning Siri, if that's what you were after, and your iPhone has a home button, you're going to press and hold on the home button instead. Sorry. All right. I didn't make that distinction. So if your phone has a home button, big round circle down at the bottom center,
Right.
then press and hold on the home button in order to summon Siri.
Yes.
But you can still use the side button to put it into sleep. And then you can press that side button in order to get to the lock screen. That should function the same whether your phone has a home button or it doesn't have a
No,
home.
it doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't do that.
No.
Okay, I don't want to get hung up on this,
No,
all right?
that's right.
But if you have a question about this, hang on after we're done here this morning, and we can see if we can sort that out right for you. Oh, by the way, if your iPhone, there were some versions of iPhones that actually had that sleep wake button up on the upper right hand corner. That goes back to about iPhones 5, right, in that time frame, right? But I don't want to get hung up on this in our camera discussion. If we want to start that out, hang on after class, and we'll identify what phone you have and make sure that you can both summon Siri and put your phone into sleep mode. Okay, I want to continue.
Go do it.
In a similar fashion, there are a number of ways that you can release the shutter in order to take a picture. Now, I'm going to propose to you that the vast majority of people that do this, right here, I'm into my selfie mode at this point. And down at the bottom of your screen, you've got the big white shutter button. And most people, when they take a photo, is you just press that shutter button and it'll take the photo. That is pure point and shoot, right? And that's going to work for, you know, maybe the vast majority of the instances that you are taking photos. But I want to make sure that you're aware of some of the options. Option number one is what's labeled as 2 right on the slide deck. And that is you can, I'm going to have a hard time doing this. I can do it like this. I have my 2 volume buttons on the left-hand side of my phone, and you can take a picture by pressing either of the volume buttons, right? Let me demonstrate. I'm going to put me back into selfie mode, and I just took a selfie, right? I'm going to take a picture of my friend here. Right?
Here we go.
And I did that by pressing the volume button. Now, the beauty about the volume button is that if you are in a contortion mode, because you've got George Clooney sitting right here, right? And you want to take a selfie with George Clooney, sometimes, depending on how you're holding your phone, you do not have the contortion abilities to reach down and press the white button. But if you are holding the phone like this, all right, you can easily press the volume button in order to take the picture. I just took a picture, all right? Let's try that, right? And by the way, you can use either volume button unless for some reason you have your phone differently. All right. And if you think of it, you know, if you are holding your phone horizontally, you're holding it in landscape mode, you know, this then takes on an action very similar. Now I'm going to mess up here, but you can kind of see, don't look at my screenshot, but now you can actually take a picture, not unlike the posture that you used to use with your Kodak Instamatic cameras, all right, or your Kodak Brownie cameras. And you might find that your action is a little more steady, right? So the volume buttons allow you to take a picture. Option number 3 on the slide deck is that you can use the volume buttons on your earbuds and some Bluetooth headphones. Now, you remember these? All right, here is my earbuds, all right? And so if you plug your earbuds into the phone, and I'm gonna go back into selfie mode here, and on your earbuds, you find the volume, and they're labeled as plus and minus, that you can take a picture by pressing on the volume buttons on the earbuds themselves. Right, so now you might think, well, when would I use this? Well, you might use this if you were ever going to prop your phone up, you know, because you couldn't get enough distance for a selfie or some other photograph, and this gives you an extra 3 feet. All right, so you can use the earbuds on, or you can use the volume buttons on your earbud. Now, if you have, if you use Bluetooth headphones, Some of the Bluetooth headphones will also do this. You'll just have to try it right on your device. If they have a volume button, I have some that don't work, right? So you're going to have to test it yourself.
Good girl.
Yes, question. Question? Okay. Item number 4 on the slide deck is using an Apple Watch. I don't know if there's a few of you, I know a few people in our community do have an Apple Watch, but your Apple Watch actually has a remote shutter application on it so that you can then use your watch in order to take a picture. This is perfect, by the way, if you are taking a family picture and you have set up your iPhone on a tripod and you are looking at joining the family picture, and you can take that picture while in your family group with your phone propped up or sitting on a tripod. By the way, there are other accessories that you can get for the same, right? The same function. And that is, this happens to be a remote shutter button. And this is an accessory that you can buy that kind of does the same thing. Set your phone on a tripod, and then you can join your group picture and press the shutter using a Bluetooth connection. I have more. I haven't used this in quite a while, but this happens to be a selfie stick where you are able to put your phone right onto this selfie stick in order to give you a longer reach. This also has the ability to do a remote shutter. By the way, I have a page on my website where I will show you some of the products that I use and recommend toward this direction. I have some other accessories that I'll show you in just a bit. All right, so we're at point number 5 now. All right, so far, when you want to take a picture, you can either press the white button, you can press the volume buttons, you can do the volume buttons on your earbuds, you can use an Apple Watch, or you can use an accessory like a selfie stick or a remote shutter button. I've got some more I want to show us. All right, I also want to talk about burst photos, and I also want to talk about timer photos. All right, first of all, burst photos. Your iPhone has the ability to take a burst, a very fast sequence of photos. In fact, it will take 10 photos per second. And it is a great way for you to catch an action photo, right? If you are trying to capture photo from an athletic event and you're capturing somebody running, you might consider doing a burst photo in order to capture just the right Kodak moment. Similarly, if you have other items that are moving, you can use a burst photo in order to, freeze, right, the action at a certain time. It would also be a way that if you have family members that haunt your family pictures by closing their eyes, right, you might be able to use a burst photo in order to eliminate some of that. All right, so here's how you do a burst photo. You're in the camera app. If you have an older iPhone, you can do a burst photo by pressing and holding the shutter button. And when you press and hold it, you will hear the camera go click, 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 click as it's doing 10 photos per second. Right? On the other hand, if you have an iPhone 11 or later, my strategy for doing a burst photo is to shift the white shutter button to the left, right? So so that I am now taking photos. In fact, I just took 50 photos. I took 55 photos. And that shutter process will serve a couple of functions then. So you can tap it once just to take a photo. If you have an older iPhone, you press and hold it in order to take a burst. And then finally, if you have a newer iPhone, you're going to shift it to the left. You can see on the picture of my screen, my shutter is actually off to the left a bit, and I just took 75 pictures. I released it and it stopped. All right, and so that 75 pictures, by the way, was 10 per second, so over 7.5 seconds, right? So you can use burst in order to grab action, right? Two strategies for doing that. If you take a burst photo, I'm going to do a quick demonstration of this, and I am going to, in fact, I have to drop myself a note. I do have a lesson in my guide about managing burst photos. I will put it up on the class page, but let me do a real quick demonstration of that. Right. So presumably, if you took a burst photo, you may be interested in only keeping one to a small group of those photos, and you probably want to delete the rest. So if I go back to the Photos app, and I'm going to have a hard time demonstrating this, Ryan, but I'm going to kind of talk you through it. And the reason that I'm going to have a hard time demonstrating it is when I go into the Photos app, it likes to display photos. But if I display a burst photo, I get a select button on the lower part of my screen. And by the way, I've included this as a topic for later, right? So that when I have a different camera set up, so that I can actually show you the Photos app. But you tap on that select button, and you can then scroll through all of these burst photos and pick the ones that you want to keep. For instance, there's a little check mark now on my screen. And so I'm saying, well, I want to keep this one. And then I can tap on done. And then it wants to know, what do I just want to keep only one, right? I want to keep one favorite. And through that action, it has deleted all of the other photos, just giving me the one that I desired, right? I have a whole lesson on that, right, on the Senior Tech website, and I'll put it up on the class page. I forgot to do it this morning. But that is a burst photo. It is 10 photos per second, great for catching action, great for eliminating closed eyes. I have yet to try it on something, you know, how you see those fabulous photographs of hummingbirds where they actually are able to freeze the action, right? Someday I want to try it on some action like that. I have not had that opportunity yet. Right, so that's a burst photo. Number 7 on the slide deck is timer release. Right, so a timer release is where you want to be able to press the shutter, right, in your camera app, and the phone will delay either 3 or 10 seconds before the picture is actually taken. So now imagine that you're grabbing a family picture. Hopefully next summer, we're going to be able to gather our families together again, right? But you're taking a family picture. You have your phone propped up, or you have it sitting in a tripod. You turn on the timer release. You tap the shutter, giving you 3 seconds or giving you 10 seconds to actually join your family in the picture. Right? Here's how you do it. All right, so you got to be in the camera app. Now, depending upon your phone, If you notice on the slide deck, on the very top bar of your device, if you see an image of a little timer, similar to what you see on the slide deck right here, you can press it. If you have a newer phone, what you have to do is you have to tap the arrow at the top, and now I have a timer icon below the viewfinder. I tap on that icon and I get to choose either 3 seconds or 10 seconds. I am going to choose 3 seconds. Right? And I get a little reminder at the top of the screen when I do this. Right? So now here's what happens. You have basically told the camera app to do a delay of 3 seconds. And so now you will press the shutter release button as normal. So I'm going to tap it right now, and it counts down 3, 2, 1, takes the picture. If I had set this to be 10 seconds, I'm going to do that just for demonstration purposes. All right, I click on the same camera icon, I choose 10 seconds. I get a little reminder up at the top that says it's set on 10 seconds. And now I press the shutter, and I am now going to count down, and I have now joined my family in the family picture. 3, 2, 1, picture taken. Now, something else that happens when you do this is that a timer picture is actually going to take a burst of 10 photos. So meaning that it's a great way when you're doing that family picture, it is a great way to eliminate the blinking eyes, all right, or some movement that you didn't intend, right? So timer release photos are actually burst photos of 10 photos, right? So the concept is really simple. All you do is enable it. You choose either 3 seconds or 10 seconds, and then you tap the shutter as normal, and you then have either 3 seconds or 10 seconds in order to join in the photo, right? That's the timer function. And what you have to look for is you have to look for that timer icon on your camera app screen. If you have a newer phone, you have to tap on the arrow in order to see it on the bottom. All right, so on this slide deck, we talked about burst photos, we talked about timer photos. One more item in terms of shutter release. This is new. Starting with iPhone 11s and newer. So normally, we know that if you intend to take a video, you would normally use the slider in order to switch to video. Now, I'm going to be talking about video in a later session, right? But if I am now on photo mode, and if I want to actually do a quick take video, I can take a video by just pressing and holding the shutter button. And I'm going to do it again. There's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I'm taking a video. All right, and I release my finger. And the video capture stops. So what this does, it enables, again, with a newer iPhone, if you have one of the, something less than an 11, you will not get this function there. But it is a way for you to quickly grab a video. It's almost like you're saying, oh, I'm going to take a picture of my grandkids playing. And then you say, oh, it would really be nice if I had this on video instead. So rather than fumbling around trying to change the mode to video, you can just press and hold the shutter key, the shutter button in order to take the video. And there's another note on the bottom in that if I slide this over to the right, I now am back to conventional video hands-free, all right? And then I just tap on the shutter in order to turn it off. So you do get a lock that comes with it. And this action is available on iPhone 11s and later. Okay, questions on that? All right, terrific. We're almost done here. Useful accessories. On the class page. Oops. All right, on our class page. Down at the bottom, where I have lessons from the Senior Tech website, I have an item that says products I use or recommend. And if you tap on that title, it'll take you into a list of photo accessories that I do use. Now, putting an Apple Watch on this is kind of a joke because you're not going to buy an Apple Watch because you want to use the remote shutter. But you know, having a tripod is pretty useful. And if you notice here, one of the things that I recommend is if you are in the market for a tripod because you want to take family pictures or you simply want to prop up your phone, I would go into your local Goodwill store or your Savers or Unique store. Almost every time that I've been in those stores, I can find a tripod for $5. All right, so give that a thought. I have and actually this is my second version. My first one fell apart. I have this GorillaPod flexible tripod for a phone, which allows you to put your phone in this clamp, and then the flexible legs here will stand up on anything, or you can actually hang it if you want to hang it up on something. So this is an accessory that has been very useful. It tends to be a little more portable than a full tripod. You can buy a device like this. This is the smartphone holder, so that if you went to Goodwill and bought a $5 tripod, then you might want to go to Amazon, or I know that Best Buy also has these, but purchase one of these smartphone holders. And this is just a clamp that will hold your iPhone, and it will skew into the top of your tripod. And then I talked about the remote shutter accessory before, and that's a device like this. And in all cases, I have given you some links to see examples of these products. And so these are some of the accessories that have been useful for me. All right. Every time we get together, I want to dig into a better iPhone photography tip. And when I look at the best resources, you know, that will show you, you know, and propose how do you improve your iPhone photography. Tip number one is shoot a lot of pictures. Best way to hone your skills is to practice a lot. Shoot as much as you can. It doesn't really matter what, all right? And then you simply delete what you don't keep. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. All right. This is your homework assignment for the week. I would like you to take some time in your home, since most of us are at home, and I would like for you to capture some daily moments at home. And while you're doing that, experiment with the different functions for launching the camera and doing the shutter. You're looking at a screenshot. these are pictures of my coffee pot, my coffee making process from early this morning. That's what I mean. Just every day, take some pictures of everyday events right in your home. If you would like, I would love to get some examples. And so this is optional, but if you have a photo that you like, use the share function, use the share icon in the Photos app to send that example to photos@seniortechclub.com. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do this, but what I will propose is any submitted photos, I will publish it on a class gallery, right? So that we can share it. And if you do that, while you're typing that email, just give me a quick note about what you learned or what you discovered or how this photo might be a little bit different, right? So that's your homework assignment for this coming week. Really just experimenting with the different camera and shutter functions and take some pictures of your daily life, right? When you do this, you are going to get photos that you want to delete, right? So here are the steps for deleting photos, right? Let me display this on the screen. All right, so you go into the Photos app. And this kind of messes up here a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna show it to you like this, right? And I'll show it on the screen. In the Photos app, you want to go to a place where you can see all photos, or you can also go into albums, right? So you want to see your photos like this. Excuse me a second here. You want to see your photos like this. Up on the upper right-hand corner of the screen, there is a select icon. That's step number 2. So you tap on select. Step number 3, there's a little check mark on each of these photos. So you tap on the photo to put a check mark by it. All right, so you can tap as many as you want. And so one of the reasons we're doing it like this is you can tap a whole bunch. All right, so if you take 20 photos this afternoon, you can go in and you can tap 20 photos. And then step number 4 is you tap your trash can icon on the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And then step number 5, it will ask for a confirmation. Did you intend to delete 11 photos? Right. And so by encouraging you to take a lot of photos, then you're going to scan the photos and you're going to say, I took 40 photos and I'm going to delete 38 of them, right? So you literally can go into either my or all photos or your albums, recents, right? You tap on select, you put a check mark by all the photos that you want to discard. You tap on the trash can delete icon on the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and then you confirm to delete those photos. And then those photos will no longer be consuming space on your phone or in your iCloud photo library. All right. I took you a little bit over time, all right, today. If you have any follow-up questions from our discussion, you can send questions to questions@seniortechclub.com. Remember, you can go to our Tuesdays page in order to get information about upcoming Tuesday sessions. By the way, the Zoom link that you registered to get in order to attend this session, that Zoom link is good all the way through March. All right, so it's January through March. All right. Finally, and so our next online session is going to be next Tuesday, 10 a.m. We're going to do a tour of the camera app. We're going to define HDR, zoom, flash, go through all those items. Those topics are listed on the Tuesdays page. And finally, we're going to close the day. Now, if you have any questions and want to hang around, you're welcome to hang around, right? But you know, I hope to see everybody next Tuesday. In the meantime, please stay well, watch your distance, wash your hands, wear your masks, and keep learning. And with that, we're going to adjourn this session. But please hang on if you have questions that you would like to explore. Okay? All right,
Thank
bye,
you.
everybody.
Very good. Thank you.